I want to welcome Agile XRM to the podcast. I've known the people at Agile XRM for the past 12 years. I've seen how their business process management tool can add massive value to complex organizational processes in sectors such as finance and government. If you have complex processes or a need for dialogues on the Power Platform or Dynamics 365, take a look at how this BPM tool can add value. You can find them at agilexrm.com or check out the show notes for more details. Welcome to the Power Platform Show. Thanks for joining me today. I hope today's guest inspires and educates you on the possibilities of the Microsoft Power Platform. Now, let's get on with the show. Today's guest is from England in the United Kingdom. He works at Kerv Digital as a solutions architect. He started in August 2023, so he's a fresher there. He has mainly been involved in Microsoft technologies, Azure, Power Platform, SharePoint, Dynamics. He's passionate about staying up to date with the latest tech trends, as well as the volume of beer one can consume in a day. He loves sharing with the community. You can find links to his bio, social media, show notes are where you'll find all those things. Welcome to the show, AJ.
Hello, Mark. Thank you for having me. And that was a perfect intro. I really appreciate that. Yeah.
Especially being that this started before you actually joined, as in we started our conversation before you joined Kerv, right?
No, exactly. I feel terrible. I think it was a mixture of the whole transition out from the wonderful Metro Bank and transition to Kerv that got me a little bit caught up and busy. So I do apologize about that. But I'm really happy to be on this. Actually, very excited to be on this because I've listened to a few of the episodes.
It's good to have you on. And of course, I met you 2 weeks ago in person in Vegas. For the first time. You have a reputation in the community of being an absolute fucking rock star and doing some amazing things in the history. You know, what I saw you were doing and heard that you were doing at Metro Bank, which really initiated me reaching out and understanding a bit about how you take makers on a journey and what you think around tooling and setting up and how you think about scaling the Power Platform in organizations. But before we go there, food, family, fun. I know you have no problem on the fun department. Tell me about food, family, and then tell me about the fun things that you do that doesn't involve the Power Platform.
Food, okay. Food, family, and fun. Well, food, I love food. I love all types of food. Food is fantastic, and it's a great way to chit-chat. What's my favorite food is probably the question here. So I'm probably going to go quite simple with this. It's probably going to disappoint the audience, but I'm going to go with a pizza. More importantly, nice. A pineapple on pizza, something nice, something meaty, probably a Hawaiian, maybe a spicy meat with some pineapple chucked on top. I refuse to agree with those that say it does not belong there. I don't care if it's a fruit salad. Agree. It's a pizza.
No, it's. I 100% agree with you. I'm in the pineapple on pizza camp.
There you go. That's it. So I'm a big fan of that. So it is a simple choice, but it is a lovely choice, and you can never go wrong with it. Wherever you are in the world, someone does a good pizza there.
Yeah,
so that's
so true.
That's the food. Family. I'd say I'm going to go with the whole. I'm going to go with the one that everyone's probably going to hate me for. The community was a big family for me, but as well as that, I'd say I have to shout out Nella, my partner in crime. She is awesome. She's my girlfriend. Together 6 years now, so she's been sticking by me. But in terms of anyone else, I don't have any mini monsters that I know some of the community have, and I don't have anyone else that is having to put up with me just yet. So
nice.
Who knows? Maybe one day.
Tell us about fun.
Tell you about fun. Well, I'm a simple guy. I'm sensible. I don't do anything too crazy, as anyone who's come to a community event with me will know. Or maybe disagree with, but I must say I do a lot of things for fun. My big belief, my philosophy, which is quite a simple one, is just do it. Just do some fun stuff. When like for example in Vegas, there was loads of good opportunities for fun, and I think I said yes to every single one of them.
What was the highlight of Vegas for you?
I'm going to be honest. I know shooting is a bit controversial, but I think the highlight for me was going to the shooting range with my good friend Chris and Kiki and having a blast shooting those mini guns and 50 caliber. Dude, they were machines.
You did a 50 cal?
Yeah, I did a 50 cal sniper rifle. I can't remember exactly
Yeah.
which make mod, but it was amazing. It was intense. It
Yeah.
was.
I've done it.
Yeah,
I've done it. I know it. Yeah, man. I've done the 50 cal snipe. Yeah.
I have a video clip that I need to show you, Mark. Honestly, it's just Kiki videoing me, and then
Yeah.
none of us expected how loud it was going to be. It goes off,
Yeah.
and she's just running off in the middle of the video to hide away. But the bit that shocks me the most out of everything was after she had the chance to see me do it, and then Chris did it.
Mm-hmm.
She's used to the noise of it, so she gets behind it as if
Yeah.
it's nothing. She says it's her first time shooting it, and she
Yeah.
headshots the target, and that
Yeah.
taught me not to mess with Kiki. She was scoring
Okay, so-
headshots and centre mass
Yeah.
non-stop.
Anytime a South African female says she doesn't know how to use a gun, she's lying. Hard out, man. She is 100% lying. I've got my nephew married a South African. She shot a guy. She has been carjacked and therefore knew that she was going to die in the carjacking if she didn't get out of it. So she just picked a car across the road and just floored head on into another car and woke up in hospital. Man, South African chicks know how to handle themselves, right?
I will completely agree with you there. Honestly, it blew me away. And honestly, Chris was doing some madness as well with his guns. I must say, I think he did much better at the center mass shooting and the minigun. He did better at the minigun than me. With the minigun, I did drift a bit too far left with it, but I didn't do. I wouldn't say I did too bad. But I think what I found easy with the guns, with the beautiful sights that were all lined up for me, so it was pretty much point and shoot.
So I did it in Atlanta at an MVP thing some years ago, many years ago, and it was $12 every time you pulled the trigger on the 50 cal, right? Because the cartridges, they're pretty sizable. What was the cost there per cartridge?
I don't know what the cost per cartridge was, but I know how much I spent on the whole package.
Oh yeah, what was the package?
It was about 1.5K.
Wow.
So,
that's fun, right?
Thank you for saying that. So
did they line up the guns? Like, did they give you the Magnum? Did you like?
They lined everything up. We had the coolest instructor. It was amazing. He lined everything up, taught us everything, stayed with us throughout the whole thing. He said, "Here's your minigun. It's got 100 rounds in a minigun. We had two of those. I shot one of the miniguns. Chris shot one of the miniguns, and then we had light machine guns. We had AKs. M16 was one of them. We had a range of guns. It was the full package. I went for 2 rounds of one of the packages plus an extra few guns, and just I said, you know what? The way I justified it, which Aaron Rendell and Cookie and a few of the others in the crew didn't seem to agree with my maths there, but Christine, thankfully, she did. She backed me there, so I do appreciate you going with that's an experience. You're right, it's an experience.
Oh yeah.
I justified by saying, the cost of flying back over to do this later on in life. Add that.
That's good logic. That's good logic, right?
That's the logic.
Carpe diem, seize the day. Take the opportunity when you have them.
So yeah, I had the opportunity and I took it. So that was, I'd say that was a highlight. And plus, the same day we come back and the gang did a little birthday surprise, which was absolutely lovely. It was quite a nice little celebration. I think Matt and Cookie and everyone sorted out a cake. We had a card. It was lovely. So it was a brilliant way to celebrate.
Final question: did they let you choose your target?
They did, but we did go for the simple ones because some of the other ones were a bit controversial.
I know, right? That's what I'm alluding to, right? The options they give you for targets are like, are you serious?
Yeah, they had.
No wonder the culture in America is like it is, right?
Honestly, it's insane. I think
let's get your mother-in-law picture up there, or let's get your ex up there, or I'm like, oh my gosh.
Honestly, the most tame one was not tame enough for me. I actually have pictures of some of the targets because of how bad they were. I said we weren't using them, but we went for the simple ones. I actually have I took home.
You just went for the silhouettes?
Yes, the silhouettes. Yeah. Took them home with me as well after shooting them.
Nice. I tried to bring my gun cartridges home, but airport security took them off me.
I have them. I got them.
You got them through?
I got them through. So I was told by the wonderful guys at the range, if you put them in your check luggage, mix them in with everything, you should be fine because they're not technically, they're not live, they're not anything right.
No, they're spent. They're well spent, right?
Yeah. So I've got my 50 cal that I fired, and I've
Yeah.
got two other ones as well. So it's not bad. I've got them already there. And they also were selling souvenirs. They had a tank made out of gun casings. So I was like, you know what, I'm
Wow.
going to take that as well. So I've got one of those as
Yeah.
well.
Nice.
Chris has
Oh,
the
good
matching
times,
one.
man. It's good you had fun.
Oh, I love it.
Let's talk about how you got into your Microsoft journey. What was that for you? The 90-Day Mentoring Challenge is a comprehensive program to help you take your Microsoft business application career to the next level. Since 2018, more than 790 people from 67 countries have benefited from this program. I've heard from past participants that the 90-Day Mentoring Challenge helped them advance their careers, from switching jobs, starting companies, to gaining industry recognition like MVP Award or full-time employment at Microsoft. Enrollments are currently open for the next cohort, which starts on the 1st of January 2024. Find out more at ako.nz365guy.com. That's ako.nz365guy.com.
So okay, so my Microsoft journey was a bit fun, I'd say. A mixture of fun and frustration. So let's go with that. In the past, I used to do a lot of web development, a lot of front end web stuff. Not as at the time, but I used to do it for a little bit of a side hustle, a bit of freelance work. And during this time, I was also, studying, and I was looking for a bit of a job. So I was working at the wonderful Metro Bank. So that was part of it. And
How did you get your job at Metro to start with? Was it because of tech and IT?
No, it
Or
wasn't.
did you start as a bank teller?
I started as a customer service representative in one of their banks.
Yeah.
So
Wicked.
during
That's so cool.
so what I did was I was doing tech prior to this for many years. I did loads of fun little games I worked on. I used to use Unity a fair bit to try and make it big as a game. That never worked out, but I always thought I was going to make the next big game. But I ended up progressing into the web dev stuff. And then at the same time, I was introduced to Power Platform, because I was asked by somebody, could one of the websites write to something at the time that was called Common Data Service? I was like, what's that?
CDS?
Yeah, CDS. I was like, I know SQL, but I don't know the CDS. They're like it's basically SQL. Can you write to it? I worked out, yeah, I could write to it. So they had a very basic site. It was a WordPress site. It was quite simple. So I was able to integrate that into Dataverse. And at that time, I started exploring Power Platform. And at the same time, I had a wonderful colleague at Metro Bank show me some cool stuff with Power Apps. So it was all coming together from both angles at the same time. I think it was my good friend Oliver Teleski at the time. He was working in their Dynamics team. So I was, because he knew I did some stuff. So I started building some jazzy bits over there. And I think my entire time spent as a customer service representative was focused on primarily building these apps and adding some value there. So it got really good. And I was doing it for some time before he messaged his friend Paul. And then they brought me on to take a look at the Power Apps team, and we created it at Metro Bank. So it was a blast. They originally geared it towards solving the smaller problems, even though we both know that Power Platform can solve some really big enterprise level problems. But it was focusing on those things and then seeing how many of those things we could solve in a quick way and growing it out from there.
I like it. What was the big thing that you did there around creating an environment for makers, creating a enablement around makers and fusion teams, and what did you do?
Okay, well, I think I did do a fair bit, and I was actually really proud of what we achieved there. And I did receive a lot of support from people filling in with it. But essentially, what we did there was, at the time, it was quite early on. There was no citizen development, no enablement. Power Platform was blocked for the masses. It was entirely restricted to only the Dynamics dev team. Nobody else is allowed to use it. They did give me some good reasons for this. They had examples of cases where, because they hadn't focused on, the governance and the security elements. I'm not sure if I could say that part on the podcast, but because they didn't focus on the key areas of the platform that they needed to create those, guardrails, they didn't feel comfortable bringing it out, especially in the past when some people had built some automations in the default environment that had some not so fun, reactions.
Yes.
So I came
very typical, right? Very typical of what we see in the market.
No, exactly. And obviously them being a bank, heavily regulated, they had deep concerns. They were like, Power Platform's awesome, we accept that, but we're comfortable giving it to you devs. You guys can make some value with it, but sharing it wider just wouldn't work. So I just started working with the InfoSec guys and speaking with them. And I started saying, hey, what is it that we need to make you comfortable with people working on it?
Yeah. Great question.
At that time, they did give me a good answer. They gave me a great answer, actually. They said there's key issues. One being the knowledge. Two being the monitoring and shadow IT concerns that a lot of organizations have. Those are the first two concerns they had. And then they were always worried about data loss and other issues, and also root to live and ALM. So they gave me loads of great concerns. So I started saying, so if I start solving these concerns for you, can we get it? And they were very fair. They said to me, if we have a model that solves these concerns, that meets this stuff, 100%. So while this wasn't the full-fledged enablement that I know and love, where everyone everyone's empowered, everyone can build, you've got your personal productivity environment in the default environment that everyone calls personal productivity, it was still something. So I started taking some things off there and started letting it grow. So the first things I started focusing on were around the knowledge. So I worked with a wonderful person called Kieran Watts. He was really interested in the Power Platform. In fact, he was breaking some of the little rules and started building himself without realizing it. So he was like the first person I wanted to bring on. So I had a chat with him, started upskilling him, and I started learning what the best way to do this was. So we came up with a range of things. We had one-on-one sessions directly. We had, eventually when we got into a wider groups, we had group sessions where multiple of us people were on a call. And we started.
What did you call those group sessions? Did you make them a regular occurrence?
So we had different ones that were regular occurrence. So the Power BI ones were the Power BI lunch and learns. And lunch and learns are a great concept. And everyone's like, no one wants to learn during lunch. But frankly, a lot of people do. They don't mind getting a little bit of a meal out there. And it doesn't have to be during your lunchtime. It's just whenever.
It's a concept.
It's a concept. And that was the main thing. And we also had these drop-in sessions. I think Kieran, since taking over, that has really perfected the drop-in sessions even more. But
how do they work?
So it was just we schedule a meeting and we have a call. And one of us, well, he's now the citizen developer coach there, but at the time it was myself. I'd be on the call. I'd be doing my work. I was being productive. I was working on the stuff I needed to, any apps I was developing or checking any stuff in the environment. Someone would hop on and would say, hey, AJ, I've got this. Can we take a look at it? That sort of stuff. So it was being
so this is like an open Teams channel that you would have all comers welcome in the business. And, I think sometimes people call this office hours. This time you're available online to take whatever you want to bring and throw my way and have a chat about.
Yeah, it was very close to that. It was exactly pretty much that, except with the teams over at InfoSec, one of their concerns that they raised was obviously the terms of accountability and making sure the right people were building. So at the time, the way we scaled it out was quite slow and steady. The way we did it was we reached out to business leaders and we told them we wanted some of your people. We want some of your people's time. We want 20% of their time a week for training and building. So of those business areas, they gave us a few people that were really interested in it, and we focused on those people. Often these
they gave you 20% of time.
20%. I was really
That's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing.
I think with Kieran as the huge success story and showing so much value and promise, it was almost a no-brainer. People wanted the slots. In fact, they wanted more time than we could do in this really structured and rigid way. And it was really growing in such a nice space, especially the operations team. They took this on in stride. They gave us people that had enjoyed using Excel and macros. Some people had been doing some crazy stuff with SharePoint lists. These people had been putting in a lot of work into upskilling themselves in other areas. And some of them have even been learning Power Platform on their own time. I think one of them, a friend who worked at an insurance company, told them about Power Platform and they wanted to learn it and X, Y, and Z. But then when they found out they could do it inside the bank, they were like, yeah, it's a win-win. So
yeah.
this solving of the knowledge issue was really important for the IT guys. And then from this is when I started, obviously, at the same time as this, building out the environment strategy for the citizen developers, because InfoSec didn't want people to have access to everything at the same time, which is understandable.
Of course. Yeah.
But then I was thinking.
So what was it? Just thinking about your environment strategy, and just to take a step back, that we're not going to talk about your employer there, but in your general thinking now.
Mhm.
So apply what you've learned. If you were going to do that citizen dev environment today, how would you think about it? What would you put in place from an environment strategy? And I'm only talking for those, those citizen devs, the newcomers to the plat, not your pro devs that are trained, been doing it, done it multiple times, not their first rodeo.
Okay, then. It's a good question. It does depend on a few factors, but I think based on what we know and what we know today, and what we have today, what I would look to do is I'd look to have a range of managed environments. With the managed environments, we can often stem a lot of concerns people have with citizen development, like by monitoring how many times an app is shared to make sure dev isn't turning into prod without people realizing it, as well as that using pipelines through it. So what I would do is I'd have a learning environment for someone to just muck about in, which has a much stricter DLP. I'd have a separate environment for the citizen development dev environment. And obviously, I'd make it quite clear the differences between these. And then obviously, from the dev environment, we'd look at using the managed environments features for their pipelines for test and prod. By doing this, obviously, we teach them all about application lifecycle management, from the creation of the app to the end of time when it disappears, when you need to terminate it or bring it down, how that runs in a lifecycle, while also giving them the playground to work from. Obviously, with this, they'd need those premium features, but I think these days, what I've found is a lot more companies are comfortable giving out those premium features now that they know the value. Some still aren't, and for those that aren't, I'd come up with a different strategy. But for these ones, it would be something more like this. How does that sound?
Yeah, that's good. In what you were doing with the developing that citizen team, my understanding, I hear, not from yourself but others, that did you create some type of app that allowed that you used to facilitate this kind of, how you took somebody from zero to doing something?
Yes, I think I know what you're referring to. So it has been growing.
I don't know what I'm referring to. Tell me, what was it called?
I didn't have a good name for it at the time. It's since been given a better name by my colleague Kieran. I believe it's now called the Citizen Development Management Application. But he's also got a theory test app that complements it now, which I love. So
okay, tell me about the theory test app.
The theory test app's awesome. It's something cool that he's worked on. We worked on it together at the start, but he's perfected it since me leaving. But essentially, what it does is, in the UK, the way we got the idea from was when you do a driving test, before you can take the actual practical, you've got to do a theory test, which is your
100%. Same in New Zealand. Yeah.
Exactly that. So what we thought of was, in the past, we were using exams and skills and certifications to help benchmark people, as well as us seeing what they do and what they build. But obviously, with the changes in the exams and the ESI for the employment, I think it's Enterprise Skills Initiative, dropping to 50%. It wasn't really easy for us to incentivize people to take the Microsoft exams until they felt more comfortable. So
sorry, let me just clarify that, because I think that's a UK specific scenario you're talking about. What was that skills initiative? What is that?
It was a fantastic initiative with Microsoft where, with a lot of enterprises, they could get their certifications 100% off.
Oh, yeah. And they killed it about 12 months ago.
Exactly. They slashed it to 50%, which people are still doing and is very helpful, but it dramatically, impacted how the model we were using. Because the model we were using was, you do these apps, you gain these skills, then you go for PL 900. You do these apps, you do these test ones, and then you go for PL 100.
Correct.
We had this whole process, and it's how we had several people that were citizen developers with 900, with 100, and 200. It's fantastic. It was phenomenal. I was loving it. I was really impressed with how they were certified, because these are certifications developers go for, and these are citizen developers with them.
Totally. As in personally, I've found I can take somebody from nothing, never heard of the Power Platform, and in 90 days, have them at PL 600 completed, including for PL 400 and PL 500 as well. So the automation. So all the way through.
I love
It's a
that.
muscle, right?
That's
It's a
incredible.
muscle. You know, when I started my career, there was a thing called an MCSE, Microsoft Certified System Engineer. It was about 6 exams, 9s if you did the IIS, which is Internet Information Server back in the day, all kind of irrelevant now in the cloud world. And we used to run these cram sessions that took builders, tradies and stuff and convert them into IT and start their IT careers. But of course, you can do it the slow way and do it those type of exams over a couple of years, or you can go, you know what? I'm going to get my exam muscle working and nail it and then build the experience behind it. So I'm pleased that you had that a model then around developing people like that.
That was it, because I was thinking it was a win for them and it was a win for us, because we took once they had the certifications, we could prove they'd got these skills. They're certified by Microsoft. It was in black and white. And when for them, they were walking away with skills and experience to empower themselves, and a certification to be. It was just going with it. It was brilliant. They were loving
Fantastic.
that. But obviously, with that, a lot of people got worried about taking the exams when they had to, there was some cost associated with it, and then there was some discussions about who would cover the cost. In the meantime, the solution was a theory test application. So we added learned questions into it. We used some of the learned questions that we found on MS Learn, and then we added what we thought were questions that were more specific to this organization. That what common things do we come across? We added those questions in, built out an entire package, and then when we thought someone was ready, we assigned them a theory test in this Canvas application. They'd go in. It was timed. It had a timer at the top. It's monitored everything. They'd go through and they'd click it out, and we'd have all the details for what they filled out. Did they pass? Did they fail? What did they go wrong on? What did they go right? And then we could see that, and we could use the details from this to benchmark them. And this was where things got cool to me, because I know some people don't like being graded, but I think it's very important to grade your skill set as you grow. And it lets you know that you're learning and you're moving up.
Yes.
And as you move up, we put you in different Azure security groups automatically.
Gotcha.
And what this will do is it will grant you access to different environments. And these different environments have different data loss prevention policies.
Yes.
Meaning now you're getting more capability. As well as that, obviously, you give you badges. Everyone loves a badge. I love a badge. I'm sure you do.
Yeah. So what was the name of your badges?
The badges were, I'll be honest, the badges were just the Power Platform stars. I gave them out to a few of the people. So you have a Power Apps level 1, level 2, level 3.
Yeah.
Stars next to them.
Awesome.
I do feel bad that I never got around to making them for Kieran, because he'd already exceeded the stars, so I never went back and retrospectively gave him one. But the other newbie guys joining, I'd give them some stars. I'd tell them you're level 1, you're level 2. Oh my God, congratulations, you made it to level 3. That's it. And it was really fantastic. Hopefully, I think that helped actually really encourage people to grow even more, because after we started to gamify things with either with the exams originally, theory tests now, and with levels, I think that pushed people to want to get better. I even was cheeky with that. I told people, I was like, hey, I said to Tom, hey Tom, Kieran's already moved to level 2. He's doing these things. He's making JavaScript web resources and model-driven apps. He's doing this. He's doing that. But for Kieran, I was telling him about how Tom was doing. He was doing some stuff with web resources. Or did you know he's making responsive apps right now? All those cool things. I loved having a bit of fun competition, and they'd all have a laugh about it.
I love it.
So it was good.
Well, what do you think the cost impact on the business was? I've heard a number. As in, once again, it's amazing I can be on the other side of the world and hear stuff, right? I heard a number of around £600,000 was the impact of just enabling the citizen development part inside that organization. Was that a fact that I heard, or was it made up?
I believe it was greater than that. But yeah, if you're talking about the first year, I thought it was
awesome.
I thought it was closer to around 600,000 to 800,000, because I know by the first combined 2 years, I thought it was above 1.2 million, but I may need to fact check myself then. But yeah,
but it just shows the power of of what you created there and creating community. One other question I have in that context, and this is a complaint I get from a lot of IT departments, where Power Platform's been deployed as an IT initiative, and of course, their first thing they do is they lock everything. Right? I heard recently of one IT department that anytime somebody created an app, they would go in and just delete it. Just it's all about control, all about instruction, all about, it's part of M365, it's a seeded license, but that's not what we want, right? And so, of course, people find ways. One of their biggest complaints is we don't want to support these people. What do they do when they have a problem? Oh, how do I do this? How do I do that? We don't support it. And so one of the things that, I've developed is this whole forum concept, like you have a Microsoft forums online, but the same thing that just runs inside the organization. So they can talk about, information pertaining to the business, but they support each other, right? How do I do a JavaScript to do blah, blah, blah? Someone that's already done it says, hey, this is how you do it. And then I give XP points, experience points to the answer that gets marked right, and also to the person asking the question. So that's part of the gamification, right? They want to be the one that answers correctly. So therefore they're supporting each other, but also there's an incentive to ask questions quickly because you get points as well. You're developing a good muscle, leverage our combined knowledge inside the business. So did you do anything around that? When I first came across it, they called it support, and I found it was too much like application, app support, or what do they call it? But this whole cross-pollination, they support each other rather than having to raise a ticket with the IT desk. What did you do in that space?
It almost entirely had to be that, because as you said, IT did not wish to support it because they had a lot on their plate. They did. It wasn't like they didn't have a day job, and I respected that. And us cranking out over 100 applications was definitely a lot to support if they did support it. So the solution was this. You could ask questions. It's Viva Engage now, but at the time it was Yammer. We had a Yammer page, we had Teams chats, and we had the drop-in sessions. And to be fair, most of the questions were answered on the drop-in sessions, but you also had a lot of people raising things in Teams chats. I did wish the Yammer page took off a bit more, but in regards to that, one of my good friends who's more, cool with Viva told me some cool tricks that I should have done at the time. But obviously since then I've moved on. But some good tricks and tips in terms of how to drive up engagement, linking people into that. And some points that you just mentioned were one of them, which was gamify it, make a point system, make a praise system, because that's a feature within it. Use that system, which isn't something I was particularly doing. And they also suggested after someone builds an application, they take a screenshot of that. Like, nothing dodgy, nothing confidential, just a screenshot of the interface. Post it. I built this. It does this. It's really awesome. What do you think? And
I love it.
It inspires people, and it lets people know, like, oh, this is Bob from that team. He's not a dev, but he's built something really cool. Could I build something cool? And it's all part of that journey, encouraging people on and helping them build self-supported apps. And if you tell people how to build an app in the right way with testing and all this other good stuff, often these power platform stuff, because they're often solving personal issues and team issues that are smaller, or sometimes even bigger things, they don't need as much support because Microsoft have built some really robust systems. And with the SitDev guys, they weren't using as much crazy. They weren't building custom PCF components. They were using Java web resources, but it was quite familiar to them, and they were able to do that very successfully. And on the one point you touched on in terms of IT feeling like they should need to support it, I think I respect IT wanting to support everything. That shows IT's mindset, but you don't really go around supporting Word documents, right? And a common thing I saw was people saying, oh, this automate flow can send automated emails to people, and it can send forms and data. Well, I always say, well, Word can do that with mail merge, right?
Yeah.
Are you? How many of those are you monitoring? Do you check to make sure that those mail merges aren't sending bulk ones to certain people? What's in the Word document? Are they getting data from an Excel? Are you supporting Excel? You're not. Power Platform is just another tool to make people productive. Imagine the productivity boom we had when we released Microsoft Office, and we were empowered to use it. It was huge. Power Platform's the next level.
I totally agree. Final words before I let you go?
Final words. Power Platform is awesome. Stopping your makers and users from using it prevents them from innovating.
and you want innovators in your business, you want you want value creators. And Power Platform is a huge, impressive tool that you have from Microsoft to allow people to do that. So don't block it, enable it.
Hey, thanks for listening. I'm your host, Business Application MVP Mark Smith, otherwise known as the NZ365 Guy. If there's a guest you'd like to see on the show, please message me on LinkedIn. If you want to be a supporter of the show, please check out buymeacoffee.com/NZ365 Guy. Stay safe out there and shoot for the stars.